All right, nerdlings, it is another year for Library Con, and it is way too hot outside. So let's go inside.
It is. Let's go into the air conditioning and see all the awesome nerdiness to behold.
Hello, nerdlings.
Yo, nerdlings!
So, it is another year, and we got to check out another Library Con.
Another year, another con.
That's right, another year, another con.
And there's not enough cons, in my opinion. I think we need more.
Definitely not around us. The ones that are around us, usually a little smaller scale.
Yeah. Man, if we lived any closer to Kansas City than we already do, we would be going to cons, like, out the yin-yang.
Well, maybe it's a good thing we don't.
That's
maybe it's
true.
a good thing that we have as many as we have. But just so you know, actually, Library Con in Springfield, Missouri, it is a, obviously a local convention, so it's not a traveling one.
A quickly growing
It really
one.
is.
Yeah.
And it is free to the public. There is absolutely no admission to get in there. And it is just kind of a celebration of fandom and geekdom and everything nerdy.
Mm-hmm. Mostly literaturally nerdly.
Yes.
That was the word. They like to focus on the nerdy parts of literature or that aspect of it.
So, obviously, like when you first come in, you have kind of rows into the library center, which we have a very nice library center, by the way, if I may. But they have a lot of booths set up, and you get a chance to meet a lot of local authors, and sometimes some not so local authors. They do make that trek, and you get to find all kinds of cool things. There's some great books to pick up. In the past, we've picked up some good books. And of course, you get to talk one-on-one with these authors and the artists about the stuff that they've created. If you have any questions, especially with the books, if you're not so sure, then you can ask them. Our friends Peter and his wife Leanne, they actually asked one of the authors how graphic was his book.
It was hilarious too, because he goes, well, I am quoting here, I want to sell you a book, so not very graphic. But then he goes, but no, it's graphic.
So stuff like that is always nice, because if you're trying to pick up a book for yourself or someone else, obviously it's very easy to figure out, if it's going to be a good fit.
The other nice thing is, since the artists are there, that you can talk to them and purchase their books from them, you can get them to sign your book. So in someday when they become this big famous, R.L. Stein or Anne Rice, you're like, hey, I have a signature, I have an autograph.
Yeah. It's also very cute, because a lot of them will be like, well, I mean, if you want my autograph, that's fine. I'm not going to be, anyone. It's like,
don't sell yourself short.
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't sell yourself short.
So that could be very nice someday.
I mean, for heaven's sakes, we have a local-ish author. I think he's maybe around St. Louis area. But he comes around here a lot. Cullen Bunn, he's local for us, but he's a huge he's written a ton of Deadpool comics. So in my opinion, he's a big of time author, because you write,
Now, real quick, on the topic of Cullen Bunn, you actually picked up something new from him.
I did.
Time.
I picked up a new trade paperback from him that I actually didn't know was out. And it's Killustrated, Deadpool Killustrated, and it's basically this book. He hijacks a bunch of already famous literature, and I know this one, Moby Dick is on the front of it and whatnot, and Cullen Bunn was the author for that one. And speaking of, Cullen Bunn signed it for us.
It's so sweet.
And like he said, I actually bought this one there because I didn't know that existed. But since I knew Cullen was going to be there,
she took full advantage.
I did. I took some of my other trade paperbacks of his that I have, and I had him sign the front. Or not the front, the inside cover of all of these, So I got some nice Cullen signatures.
By the way, more than likely,
see,
it is because they are so nice and glossy on the covers that he didn't sign those, because you don't want that autograph going anywhere.
Yeah, you don't want that autograph to get messed up or whatever. So that was, that was awesome. I will say, sadly, I had to work the day of Library Con, so we couldn't go in the beginning like I like to. So unfortunately, we did miss his panel. and I was really upset that I missed his panel, but I still got his signature and got to talk to him one-on-one, which is, some people think it's better, you know.
I will go ahead and give a shout out to, I believe the channel's called Watching Ellis. He's another local YouTuber, and he was able to catch the panel. So I will have a link to his channel in the description.
Yeah.
Go ahead and check that out so that you can see some of Cullen Bunn and some of the other authors and artists that were there in that panel.
But do it after you watch this video.
Now, as she noted, we did get there a little later in the day, so there were a lot more cosplayers.
There was.
A lot more people in general. And we couldn't tell if it was because we were getting there a little later than we normally do.
Or if it's just getting bigger.
Or if it is getting bigger. I'd like to think that it's just because it's getting bigger. And there were some great costumes.
We did see some great costumes. There was a really creepy Freddy that he did a good job. I know Freddy's creepy anyway, but his mask was like, I guess, sitting a little forward on his face, so you didn't see his eyes at all. So it just looked like there was Freddy with no eyes, so that was what made him creepy.
So, did you have a favorite cosplay that you saw there?
Oh, gosh.
If you had to pick one.
I don't know. There were some good ones. There was an Ariel in her, like, fancy dress. She was really cute. She was very polite and very Ariel-like, so I thought that was kind of neat. She stayed in character. And kudos to her, because you couldn't see her dress, but I saw her bend over, and she actually had high heels on. And I was like, you're insane, walking around a convention with high heels on when no one can see because your dress is too long. So I was like, good for you. But I don't know, maybe, I wouldn't say it was my favorite cosplay, but my favorite posed cosplay picture we took was Batman and Aquaman getting some coffee.
That was pretty fantastic. I absolutely loved that.
What was your favorite cosplay?
Honestly, I'm probably going to have to go for Nightcrawler, because this person, not only did they do a great job on the costume, but they went all out. If you could see their feet and their tail, even their teeth were pointed.
Didn't they have contacts too?
I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
So they looked amazing. But I mean, that's kind of shortchanging all the other cosplayers, because there were so many great costumes. There were a lot of good ones.
I will say, I did remember one. I actually really liked, was it like, what would you call it, like 18th century, 17th, 19th century Green Lantern?
Steampunk Green Lantern.
Yeah, that was it. Steampunk Green Lantern. He was amazing.
That was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I did want to say that even though it is a small convention, local in a small-ish town, they are sponsored by Image and Dark Horse Comics,
They are. That's really
which
cool.
is very cool. And of course, that gets the extra talent in there. Not only Cullen Bunn, but we picked up
a graphic novel, Bender. It's written by, and then the brother is, I don't remember who's who, but they're brothers, and it's the author and the illustrator. So the brother wrote it, and the other brother drew it.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
And I believe, I want to say maybe it's the illustrator, but I believe that they have some ties to some bands like Avenged Sevenfold, so maybe they've done some of their album art and everything.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that, but I thought that was kind of cool. They've got that, little bit of back history.
This is volume 1, and I'm pretty sure there were 3 volumes as of right now. So.
And Bender was, we were sold, we had no idea what it was until they started telling us about it. So it's about a German family who immigrated here. And they were
kind of in Kansas area.
In the Kansas area, I think like southwest Kansas.
Yeah.
And
in the 1870s.
1870s. So it's after the Civil War. People on like the Osage Trail traveling through to, start setting up and pioneering into the West. They would stop at their inn.
The Bender Inn. And it was, then they basically just started murdering them and taking their money and their jewels and whatnot. And we haven't really read into it. The wife of the author was the one who was telling us about it. She didn't want to spoil it, so I don't know what they did with the bodies or anything like that. She said this is historical, fictional truth. Because she said the entire story is true. Obviously, they jazzed it up a little bit. But according to her, the one thing that's fiction is the fact that one of the lynch mob members was Laura Ingalls Wilder's dad. And she said, obviously, that's not true because he was somewhere else, and that's proven.
But those urban legends get started. And,
so we're excited to read this one. We haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Now, when people would stop at their inn and go to sleep, what exactly did they say they would do to,
Did they whack him on the head with like a heavy mallet?
Which, that's always brutal.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be
And
very
messy,
cool.
You know? I mean, you don't want to clean up all that much stuff.
And just to kind of give you a quick look, it is not in color, but it has that very unique art style, which I think will lend itself very well to, you know, just the creepiness of the story itself.
And we asked, you know, if we read this one and want the other volumes, are they online? She said they are online. So
and they did sign it.
They signed
of
it
course.
on the back. And he was also this on the back here is one of the artist's pictures. He did a bunch of really, really good, very lifelike drawings.
Yeah,
too.
they had some really great prints. We were very tempted to pick up it was like a postcard size Elvira, maybe just to use as like a bookmark.
But what made our decision of not getting it was someone bought it right before we did.
Yeah.
Because they had like a bunch of them printed up, but I guess they ran out before we got there. And we were sitting there. It was literally, we were sitting there. Should we get it? Should we get it? And someone picks it up and buys it. And we're like, I guess we don't get it.
Oh, gotta be quicker than that.
Yep, you gotta.
So we actually didn't pick up a whole lot because we were just kind of there more for the atmosphere. We got to see a lot of the vendors that we've seen at other places that we really like to see. Better Together Creations is one. They do a lot of like woodworking. We got to see the Cosplay Japanese anime girl dance troupe, Kira Springfield. They were there, and it's always cool to see them all together.
The cosplayers that do the medieval stuff with the big tree. Yeah. I cannot remember what their name is right now.
Yeah, with the Lord of the Rings theme to it.
We actually talked to them more this year. We got pictures with them last year, but we actually spent time talking to them this year. And I didn't know this unless you did from last year, that the guy there that we talked to is in charge of DragonCon.
Dragonfest.
Dragonfest, not Con. Dragonfest.
He puts that together.
Yeah, so that was kind of neat. We're like, oh, cool, we go to your thing and we love it. So he was telling us a little bit of insider dirt that's going on with Dragonfest this year that we're super excited to go see and everything. And we also met with some new LARPers.
And they sounded like they have a lot of fun. Of course, not only do they get into character for battles, but they go full out. They do a lot of you know, like storied get-togethers, I guess. You know, a lot of political intrigue and everything. And
they meet
also,
around town. They meet in campsites out of town.
Yeah, they go camping. So I mean, they get full into it, which sounds like a lot of fun. So you know, you guys need to kind of check out if you have any LARPers in your area. See if they have like a get together, a little organization.
These guys were neat because they said they even make their own weapons, foam weapons, so that they could fight with, and they looked really good too. So, and
of course, we saw a lot of the Springfield nerdy staples like the Ghostbusters of the Ozarks, as well as the Springfield Hooligans.
Yes, that was a lot of fun. They have their TARDIS there like they do every year, so you can get a picture with the TARDIS and everything.
So there was a lot going on. One last thing that I wanted to note was LibraryCon had some booths set up. And this was great. They had various books and everything set up, and it would be like sci-fi books or fantasy books.
Yeah.
But then they had these large sheets of paper that you could go in and recommend various books, authors, stories, whatever. And I thought that was a great idea.
Something I was actually kind of almost embarrassed that I didn't realize our library had was graphic novels.
Oh,
there were
trade
paperbacks and graphic novel collections. Of comics, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of neat. So, you know, if you don't want to buy it, but you just want to read it, go to your library. I guess that never occurred to me that the library would have those.
So, if you guys haven't thought of that before, that's a great way to
check it out.
Catch up on some of the stories from trade paperbacks. If you don't want to invest the money into it, or if you just want to try it out before you start going out and buying them, and
try before you buy,
supporting your authors and artists and everything. All right, well, I think all I have to say at this point is, guys, make sure you are paying attention to your local area to see what kind of conventions are going on. Even if they're, like the smaller potatoes types of conventions, upstarts and everything like that. Get in there, support them. The more you support them, the more they're going to grow, and the more they're going to get cool people there, like Cullen Bunn, the Frizzell brothers. They're going to get more and more people in there. Get in on the ground floor. Make it awesome.
Check out your local library. There's always neat stuff going on at your library that a lot of people overlook. And they think print is dead, so they think, well, what the heck's going on at the library? But hey, there's a lot of cool stuff going on at the library. You know, there's quiz nights, trivia nights.
Oh yeah, they do that stuff all
kinds
the time.
of fun stuff. You know, conventions.
To be fair, again, maybe your library center is not as cool as ours. But
yeah,
is that a little too much?
That's a little biased, but that's okay. We can be biased of our own stuff.
Well, guys, if you like the video, please be sure to like it. If you are in the area and got to go to the Library Con, we would love to hear your stories.
Yeah.
We weren't there all day, so there's plenty that we missed out on. And we have a notification bell. You can hit that subscribe button and leave some comments down below. If you're interested in any of this stuff, I will try to leave a link to this so that you can check it out yourself.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We will always try to get up those closer upper pictures, get up pictures and information of letting you know where we are, what we're doing. If YouTube doesn't let you know that a video has dropped, I always try to let you know on all three of those mediums that our YouTube's videos are out.
All right, well, I think we have some guests, so
we have some reading to do.
Why don't you go polish the hammers so our guests can have a sound night sleep.
Want we go get Lucille?
Bye, nerdlings.
See you, nerdlings. Okay, mommy. She's like, I don't understand this dumb rule. 10, 12. Okay. It's not a weighted diaper.
I'm overpowered.
14 to 13.
Alright. You slayed the dragon right away.
Sorry.
There you go with that cocaine problem. Oh, now I'm ready.
Try having allergies and we'll talk. Okay, I'm ready now. Hang on, dog.
I'm gonna make you do the edits this time.
Okay.